All right, family. Black Power is the truth hour with General Sarasun said he kick back, get your mind ready for some information that's guaranteed to be heavy. I'm excited and delighted to be accepted members to the Sarasun Seti YouTube page, a dynamic page. Y'all know what it is. Black Power, Black Frequency. You're feeling that frequency and energy. You should most definitely join. Link right down in the video description in the chat. Click that link. You'll get a video introduction rundown on the membership, what they entail. You see one you like, you should most definitely join, even if you don't. I appreciate your presence at the Sarah Student Seti YouTube page. Continue to engage, continue to advance. That's right, family. Ring the alarm, kingseti.com, online marketplace, official General Sarah Student Seti DVD, lectures, t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, African and Kemetic jewelry, holistic tonics and remedies, home decor, accessories for every room in the house. We got something fly for your family. We got something hot. We want you to get on over there, check it out. Just run by the store, check out what we got. And not only do we got some hot products, we got some discounts for your family. You're gonna be looking good. You feel what I'm saying? So get on over there today. And to all our family out there, ring the pull the fire alarm, generalseti.com, SETI University. 1,500 videos of nothing but pure fire, all the subjects that you know and love from the general. Too Raw for YouTube, Making of the White Man, all debates, all religions, ancient Egypt, Ethiopia, Naga Kush, Black Power, politics, economics. We got it for you. Don't hold up. Get over there today. There's not another website on the planet that can compete, and it's there for your family so that you can grow and advance in wisdom, ancient African and modern African wisdom and knowledge, family. And everybody knows SETI popping on Patreon, BPC making noise. We never come. Exclusive live streams, too hot to handle on YouTube. Just so exquisite, we keep it for our family on Patreon. And we got over 500 exclusive live streams, never to be seen on any other platform other than Patreon. You get SETI Live, which is the biggest perk. You get the lecture format, so you know the visuals is off the chain. That's what you want. That's what you want. That's what you get. And so get over there today. Generalseti.com is the library. Patreon, General SETI is the lecture hall, and that's what you need. You need both of them. Get on over there today. To all the family out there, donate to the general. I thank you. I appreciate the fact you appreciate me. Any of the family out there would like to donate, link in the video description is in the chat. Click it, donate. I thank you ahead of time. Make sure you subscribe to all my YouTube channels, King SETI, General SETI, Sarasun SETI. Rock that notification bell. Get a video a thumbs up. Like it because you love it. Share it with your family and friends. And comment, comment, comment. Just don't say nothing stupid because I will ban your ass. Now, we talking about the undeniable similarities between the Olmecs and the ancient Egyptians. We want to drop these facts down, family. You see, because a lot of people out there, they don't even have these facts. Because if they did, they wouldn't be talking silly like they talking. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the similarity, because a lot of people don't believe that the Olmecs came from Africa. Some don't even believe they came from Africa. You see, and most people don't believe they came from the Nile Valley. You see, they don't believe that they came from the Nile Valley, and so we are here to show you undeniable similarities between the Olmecs and the ancient Egyptians. Okay, now let's get on in here. Yeah, this for family won't stay up. Y'all in here for a hell of a presentation. So I'm gonna work out with you. So you see right here, now, see, this map right here is showing you the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, and what's very critical, you see, if you look over here, where you see, in the Gulf region, this is right here is where the Olmecs, their headquarters was located. You see, right there in the Gulf region. And if you look the Gulf region, go all the way around into southern Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida. And so, when you talk about the lushness, you know what I'm saying? When you look at, that, right around that Gulf region and into Mexico, you will see that the lushness of, because when you get down right there and when you get into Mexico, you is in the tropical zone. You see, you in the tropical zone. So even, I believe that might be the 30th degree uh longitude. You see, I believe it is the 30th degree. That once you get to the 30th degree longitude or the 29th degree, whichever one it is, you're entering into the tropical zone. So it's even hotter in that area than it is in southern United States. Believe it. You see what I'm saying? It's even hotter down there. Them goddamn degrees mean something. You know what I'm saying? So you see I believe that's the 30th. Matter of fact, I believe that's the 40th because it gets larger as you go up. So I believe that 30th is right there where you see a Puebla and right near Mexico City. I believe that's the 30th degree. And then when you get up there by Houston, if I'm not mistaken, that very well might be the 40th. If I'm correct. And so I had to get that down. But no, nevertheless, that the area on that Gulf of Mexico is very similar. Now, what they don't talk about, even though that was one of the first logical things that I thought of. I always look at, I study maps and I look at the possibility. And when you look at the Gulf and you understand that the Olmecs was centralized right there on the Gulf Coast, what would be the likelihood that they went north and at least on that Gulf of Mexico, you see, and went into what today we call Texas and went into them areas because during my research, I understood that the earliest part of the mound builders was in those areas, right off that damn Gulf. That's where the earliest mound builder, the Mississippian mound builders, were right there off of that coast, that Gulf Coast. So when I looked at the mounds and I said, well, the Olmecs also built with mounds, but they had a little more advanced, architectural knowledge because they put stones. They had some stone work that they applied to the mounds. You see what I'm saying? So it was, somewhat more developed than just a mound. But after a while, even when the stones fell down, that's what was left was the mound. You see, and so I understood that more than likely. You know what I'm saying? And I say it with great confidence that the mound builders of the southern, what would later become the United States, you know what I'm saying, were very closely related to the Olmecs, a little far further south on that same Gulf Coast. You see, and we understand that they had mastered, the Olmecs had mastered the waterways. They had technologies very similar to the ancient Egyptians in the fact that they cut the blocks. You can see here, they cut the blocks for a lot of those the heads, the Olmec heads, from up out of the I believe what they call them mountains. But they cut them stones and they sailed them down. You see, they sailed them down to the locations of San Lorenzo, to La Venta, They sailed them down out of the mountains. And so, this technology was not duplicated by no other, I believe, no other group, not the Aztecs nor the Mayans. They were never able to duplicate, the large stone heads that the Olmecs had carved, and so that was a very unique technology. And it's very critical that we understand that when when you talk about the heads, the earlier, the earliest heads were the most exquisite of the heads. You see, from that point, it began to diminish. You see, it began to diminish, and so you had other heads that they found, and they switched the name up a lot, so you won't know that they Olmec or Olmec influence, and so they got a lot of heads that they call pot belly head. That's a term that they use, pot belly, and but that's that's down there in further south of Mexico, and I believe when you Colombia, all through the central area, even into the northern uh South America. They got a culture that they call pot belly. Okay. And they got some large heads, but they're nothing like what you see in La Venta and San Lorenzo. And when I looked it up, they identified that uh they were Olmec influence. So when they show you the map of the Olmecs, they tend to only show you the Gulf Coast because they do not want you to know the influence that they had, not just in the Gulf Coast. Yeah, that was where their capitals was, but their influence went all the way down into South America, Argentina, and all those what they call megalithic structures that's down there in Peru. You see what I'm saying? Ain't had nothing to do with no Inca, ain't had nothing to do with no goddamn no Maya. All of those structures were already built thousands of years before any of, and they tell the truth. When they came upon those structures, and you could see where the original megalithic stones was laid, and they looked exactly like the ancient Egyptian stones, zigzagging and shit like that. It's only one culture that mastered that. You don't find that nowhere in the world other than ancient Egypt and in some areas in South America. So it's not by no goddamn coincidence, because you moving goddamn 30 and 40 and 50-ton goddamn stones that take thousands of years of goddamn development. And you could see where the Incas, they added, and tried to replace some of the areas where the stones had fallen. They had little ass stones, and then on the on the original base, you see these big ass 30, 40, 50-ton stones. And so the thing is, when you talk about the Olmecs, see, this is what these motherfuckers lying down there, the Mexicans and shit, talking about the Olmecs is Mexicans. That's a bullshitting ass lie. See, this right here is what an Olmec look without his helmet on. They don't never want to show the afro. They don't want to show you that peak that's in front. Only African people get that peak in the front of their head. That's an afro. And you know what they call him? El Negro. You see, but see, they don't want to. That's an Olmec. You see, they all, you got these motherfuckers up on the. We didn't put that there. They put that there. You see what I'm saying? But that's an Olmec without the helmet on. Okay. Look at this story. Who's carving stone like that? You know what I'm saying? Who's carving stone like that? Only one people. You see, the Olmec. So that's clear that, they don't want to show, what the Olmec looked like without the helmet. Now, another thing is that was very substantial is the fact that there were Twa in South America. Now, there's only one people in the world. Now, you got dwarves, midgets, which are totally different than Twa. Okay, dwarfism, midgetism is a defect. You see what I'm saying? That means your limbs are disproportional to your torso and your head. That's what it boils down to. Your limbs are disproportional to your head and your torso. You see? Now a Twa is short, but their limbs are proportional to their torso and their head. That's the difference. But so it's only one people on this planet that has a branch of of the race where they're short like that in proportion, and that's African people. No other people have, the Twa were in the millions. You see, they've been hunted and and shit, and we had to talk about that. We had to talk about that. Many things have happened to the Twa. So we have to be clear that it's only in now they've moved into Asia, and so they in Asia they are referred to as the Negrito. You see, they're referred to as the Negrito, but those are Twa, and they came and and I put them together, and you can see that some of them, if you didn't know where they was from, you couldn't tell whether they was from Africa or whether they was from Asia, because they look just alike. You see, and so and so that's finding that the Twa was shown in their proportion, and I made that clear. These are Twa. These are not midgets. You see, these are not midgets. And so, that the African Twa had made it over here. You see, they had made it over here. And you see them up, this is a very, when you see upholding the heavens. Now it's crazy that that this mythology of four dwarfs upholding the heavens, man. This shit is all over the world, man. This is not a joke. Because when I was doing I was researching the Vikings. And do you know the Vikings also have a story of four dwarfs that hold up the heavens? I say, how the fuck is all these people got the same story like that? You see? This is, and so it was actually they adopted what the Africans had on, because a lot of our people don't know that what we call the Twa, these were one of the what we call the seed people. They were the first ones that went out from Africa. You see, and so when they went into Europe, they went into Asia. In Europe later on, they will be called the leprechauns, and but in anthropology, they're also referred to as the Grimaldis. You see, the Grimaldi people that went into Europe and established. I mean, we talking about, when you talk about the Venuses of Willendorf, and they always name it after, but that's the city where they find these little fertility dials, and and one of the more famous ones, the Venus of Willendorf, had the woolly hair on the head. And so this was actually the deities of the Twa, and they would place them down on their chest, and they would be also in fetal in a fetal burial. And so when you have a fetal burial, then as a fetal, in the fetal position, you as if you were in your mother's stomach. You see what I'm saying? Right, before you born. And so this was a people that believed in a great mother as deity. And so, they were, and so the majority of the ancient burials was in the fetal. And listen to me when I tell you this. I'm not telling you this for no other reason because it's the truth. I studied, and Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark and John G. Jackson pointed this out I went into the literature that, and European anthropologists identify African people. One of the ways that they could identify that they were African people was the fetal burial. That is a traditional African burial. European didn't even have graves for a long time until they came in contact with African people. If you follow the traditions of the Greeks and Romans, they would put the body on a pyre. You see what I'm saying? And set fire to it. You see what I'm saying? They didn't bury the body like that. And when you go into the goddamn the so-called medieval period, they didn't bury shit. The motherfucker, that's why a lot of them got so damn sick and shit, because they wasn't even burying the damn bodies and shit. And this, that, the motherfucker dropped, they leave him right there where he dropped. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, that was one of, and the crazy part about it, when I went to a lot of them museums, when we in the Flinders Petrie Museum in London, you will see that not only would they bury them in the fetal position, they had big giant pots. You see what I'm saying? Big giant pots, and they would place and you probably had to have, these were probably royalty. You see, they didn't just place them down in the ground. They would place them in pots. Giant, I mean, when I talk about a pot, just like a pot, you know what I'm saying, with a top on it. And you take the top off of it and you look down in it and you will see the body inside of the pot, and a ceramic pot. You see what I'm saying? And it probably would be, just imagine, it probably would be up to almost where the chest, where your chest begin. You see what I'm saying? So it was a tall pot, nice size for the body to go in. And yeah, they would put, and you would look inside, take the lid off of it, and you would look down, and the body would be in fetal position, and it'd be other little amulets, and that would be your burial. And I guess they would place it down in a grave that had been dug out. But see, this is one of the ways that you could tell, because we were the first people on the planet. That was the first deity, and later on that would become the Newts and the Heterus and the Isis and Osets, and that would later become the Venuses. And the crazy thing about it, the Venus culture, which they find Venus is all over Europe, was like, man, 30,000 BC. You see what I'm saying? The goddamn, and the Cro-Magnon Neanderthal wasn't doing nothing. He was still in the cave. He had nothing to do with that. He had nothing to, there was no history of the European. I mean, the first civilization, the Greeks and Romans, you see what I'm saying, is and they didn't found them same figurines in Africa. That's what it boiled down to. So they knew who it was. Okay. And so when that guy from Britain wrote that book, talking about the early Britons, and he gave that information up, that they knew the Africans was in there long before they got there. The goddamn so-called Anglo-Saxon ain't been in on them islands that long. You see what I'm saying? Africans have been there thousands of years before they even got there. And that's documented, and it's documented all through damn Asia. You see what I'm saying? Even the Japanese got a story of a little small people. They call them the Kuru, what they call them, the Kuru Puku. Kuru Puku. You can look it up, and I look, and you will see a little, like, and they speak about them as if they like little elves and shit, little, you know what I'm saying, and say when they got there through legend that they used to see them and they would be no smaller, and they gave like the name of some plant over there. and say, yeah, it would, they was about tall as the leaf of a so-and-so plant. You know what I'm saying? And it must have been a large plant, but still small enough that it was 12 people over there. You know what I'm saying? So when you talk about the Negritos and then you see them all down in Southern Asia and this, they were all the way up into Japan too. That's who they talking about. They were all those were all down in what you call Tasmania where they wiped them out. So they was all through that area. But that's what the Japanese call them, the Kuru Puku, which is, again, now they tried to, just like the leprechaun, they try to make them into some mythological little short, but, magical. You know what I'm saying? They, want to say that they were magical. Now it's crazy when you go into Levanta, you see this little toit. That's a toit. You see what I'm saying? That's a toit in Levanta. And you see that they got he got the himba. You know what I'm saying? Now the crazy thing is they try to steal the himba from Africa and call it the mohawk. That's what they did. That's all that is. You ain't gonna keep having all these goddamn similarities and then everything is a goddamn coincidence. We just can't do that no more. You see what I'm saying? Do we have to reveal the truth. You understand, whether people can accept it or not. We just have to tell the truth. If it's looking you right in your goddamn face, you just have to deal with it or don't deal with it. But it ain't, just because you don't want to deal with it don't mean other people can't see that this is the truth. Okay. And so now one of the critical things that especially with the pyramid, when you look at the L shape, what they call it, the landing, the L, let me get the exact, the L shaped stairway. That's right. I'm right here. L shaped straight, and you got that's not the one. But it's called building an L shaped stair. And so, it's usually when you got an L shaped stair, you're gonna have a landing. It's gonna come down to it's gonna come is in an L position, but right there, when let me get in here. You see right here, you got a landing, and then you start down again. And so in the Great Pyramid, you got the L. You get right here. It's a landing for you to go down the shaft. You see, so both in America and in Africa, you had the L-shaped stair landing. You see what I'm saying? And you see in this is Pekao's temple, now pyramid. And so, early on when they saw the pyramids in America, then in the Americas, what they would say about them that the functions of the two pyramids was totally different. That in America, the pyramids was used as temples, but and in Africa, they was used as tombs. And when they found Pekao's pyramid, that just blew that shit all out the water, that they had actually found a pyramid where a king had been buried. His wife was right next to him in a small temple. You see what I'm saying? And so in the same sarcophagus, he was buried in a sarcophagus. You understand, with hieroglyphs on it. I mean, the pyramid is actually, the design of it is the same. I don't see how motherfuckers can get away with that. You know what I'm saying? There's no way of getting around that. You see, it ain't just, it ain't just that it's a step pyramid. And, it's not just the fact that you got the L-shaped stairway inside of the pyramid. It's the fact that you got a stone sarcophagus, you got hieroglyphs, and a lot of people don't even understand that it's not that many cultures in the world that had hieroglyph alphabets. You see what I'm saying? It's only a few major cultures in the world: the Egyptians, the Olmecs, and the Minoans on the island of Crete were the three main ancient civilizations of note that had a hieroglyphic system. You see? And so now that, though, and not only that, the worship of, now you see this, and this is at Saqqara, and you see you see the serpents, you see the Nagas, and then you go to Chichen Itza, and you see the serpent, the Naga there, just the same. You see what I'm saying? That the symbolisms, you're not going, we got to quit lying to ourselves. You see, we got to quit lying to ourselves and understand that it's just like if you see a goddamn skyscraper, and I bring this up all the time, because you ain't just gonna build no goddamn skyscraper. Most motherfuckers can't even build a clubhouse, let alone a motherfucking skyscraper. You see, the amount of technology it takes to build a skyscraper. Either you went to and it ain't that many schools. And so when I went and I was doing the research, I said, let me look into this shit. Let me see. And when I went in and studying just to prove that it was through, United States is built the modern skyscraper. That's just facts. It started in Chicago, then it went, the first skyscraper is in Chicago. You see what I'm saying? Then it went to New York. You see what I'm saying? And of course, they were battling back and forth, but they brought, New York and Chicago brought the modern skyscraper into existence. You see? And anybody who has a skyscraper either went to school in the United States at some point in time. And so, a lot of people, I said, let me do the research, because I at that point I was just saying, that's the way it got to be for me. But I didn't really back it up. So I actually went and did the research to see if the architects in these, like the Burj Khalifa that's in Dubai, and these skyscrapers that's even in China. And what fucked me up, because I thought that it was, that they had, went to school. Some of them did. But in reality, the Burj Khalifa was actually built by a fucking German architectural firm. And some of them, even them skyscrapers in China, were built by American and European architectural firms. So what am I saying? When you got advanced knowledge, you ain't just gonna stumble onto no motherfucking advanced knowledge. You see what I'm saying? You ain't gonna, because it could be a combination of it could be a combination of 100 different sciences together to make it happen. So you not only have to have masters to bring them all together, you have to have masters in the individual sciences that you got to bring together to make it happen. You see what I'm saying? So you're not going to stumble onto no advanced technology. That just ain't going to happen. So when I did the research, the facts was that a lot of them buildings that you see in other parts of the world dealing with that skyscraper come from architectural firms that either come from America, that come from Europe, and I'm only saying that to state a fact, okay? Because I'm gonna go back to the ancient world and use that same fact. That's just like them goddamn airplanes. Most motherfuckers can't even fold a goddamn piece of paper up and make an airplane. You're not gonna make no F-35 or none of that shit. That shit advanced. You see what I'm saying? Which means you got some great minds working together to put that shit together. You ain't just got no any and everybody to do that. So that is the same when you talk about them pyramids and carving them stone heads and shit like that. Ain't no motherfucker just up and carving no goddamn stone, no 40 ton heads like that, and they ain't been studying for thousands of years, because you don't see that everywhere. Even nowhere in the ancient world, it's a few places in the ancient world where you see megalithic heads like that. You see, and majority of all of them got their knowledge by way of Egypt, just in Africa, period. You see, because that was the society that for 3,000 years has proof of megalithic structures without a break for 3,000 years. No other culture has that. So it's unbelievable for me that somebody, could carve, like the Olmecs could carve, 40-ton heads like that to perfection. See, them earliest one, them motherfuckers is perfected. You understand what I'm saying? They was at the top of their game. Whoever carved them heads, them earliest heads, they was at the top of their motherfucking game. And from that point, the earliest head, it decreased. It never, it ain't like in Egypt, goddamn it, where the technology, see, you got it. That's the source of it. So you can continue to build on a perfected level like that. All over 3,000 years, they built on a perfected level. But whoever established them heads of the Olmecs, they came from somewhere else. They were not from right there, because if it was a homegrown society, you would have seen hundreds of years of that technology at a perfected state, and you didn't. So when they came from the source of the knowledge, and they carved them heads, and by no more, high standard architects coming over. That you had the originals, and they taught the other peoples from that point, or they other peoples that was with them from that point. But that's not enough. You ain't at the source. You ain't at the major universities where you gonna get high quality architects. And so from the original, who were high quality architects, to the people that they taught, and they were still African, but still you teaching, you ain't got enough architects over there to continue to carve on that level. And so from that point, it began to deteriorate. The art form deteriorated from the very original heads. It was never carved on a perfected state like that ever again. And no other people, the Aztecs, the Mayans, or the Incas, ever carved large heads like that. Only the Olmec, you see? And so that right there proved And if the art form is at least 1,000 years of technology, it's at least 1,000, because you don't see it nowhere else. Where else do you see large heads like that other than Africa? Yeah, you see some now. You might see some but not even in the rest of the ancient civilizations like India and Mesopotamia. They ain't on the level of Egypt. We got to quit playing games. They ain't even nowhere near that goddamn level. Nowhere near it. You see what I'm saying? So so that's the reality. So if you don't see no level of technology, if you don't see no level before the Olmecs, and right after the original ones, it began to deteriorate, and the science is at least 1,000 years old, they had to learn it from some goddamn where else. You see what I'm saying? And when the Olmecs came, when they started building, not like in Egypt. See, in Egypt, you see the evolution of the pyramids. You see they start with the mastaba, and then they work their way up. They start stacking the mastabas till you get step pyramids, and then they even develop so you see the development, the stages of development. Whereas with the Olmecs, they started large. You see what I'm saying? They started large. They didn't start, down, like the mass. No, they started with, where the first pyramid was it was a nice size. You know what I'm saying? And when I say large, they still not as large as the Egyptian pyramids, but for somebody that's first starting, and this is the oldest, you see what I'm saying? They started large. You know what I'm saying? It was a nice size pyramid. And so they didn't have no development stage. So wherever they came from, and they already knew how to develop the pyramid, they already knew how to carve the stone. You see what I'm saying? No culture in North America, no culture in South America or Central America was able to duplicate it at all. You see what I'm saying? At all. The greatest pyramids that were built inside Mexico is attributed to the Olmec, which they don't want to say, but the facts have come out now that it was. When you talk about Teotihuacan and Chacula, Chacula was the supposedly the largest pyramid that was ever built in the Americas. And what they don't show people is the Olmec head that's out in front of it, in the same style that you see that they built that largest pyramid, Chacula. The same style is the same style they used at Teotihuacan, which is the one that's the great, the largest ones in the Americas today. Teotihuacan, they the best preserved. The same architectural style they use there is the one they use at Chacula. And the fact is, they have admitted that the Olmecs put both of them damn pyramid complexes in the Americas. So that's the facts. That's the facts. You see what I'm saying? That's the fact. And what you call the Aztecs and the Mayans, they wandered onto them sites, and they didn't even know them damn sites was there. You see what I'm saying? The question is, if you imagine this, why are they just finding these damn pyramids if y'all been over here all this time and y'all ain't been nowhere else? And y'all, how the fuck could y'all lose the knowledge of all these pyramids? You didn't know where the fuck these pyramids was from the beginning. That's just the reality. And the fuck is y'all then lost the knowledge of it? You see, or the knowledge of where they were located. They didn't never know where they was. And so when they wandered on to them, they admitted that they didn't know. But now today they want to try to fictitiously give credit to some little Indian somewhere. They know good and goddamn well they ain't got nothing to do with it. You see what I'm saying? And we can break it down even deeper. Even on this pyramid, you got the descendants of serpents coming down the stairway. You see what I'm saying? Which is a tradition that even when you talk about the serpent on the crown of the pharaoh, see the serpent is always coming down from the heavens. You see his tail is always to the sky, even on the crown of the pharaoh, because the serpent is looked at as solar energy. He's a solar deity. And when you see on the equinoxes, if you out there at Chichen Itza, the sun on that equinox, it'll light the serpents up. You see what I'm saying? And you could see as if the serpents are descending from heaven. They'll light up. You see what I'm saying? So I showed y'all that with the Nagas. This is a knowledge that's known all over the world. You see what I'm saying? With the serpent spirituality and the solar spirituality. You know what I'm saying? All over. This is no goddamn coincidence. It's no way it's gonna be a coincidence. And they got stellar. It's so much shit where a stellar is a stone with a that you got a decree on it or something. And a stellar today, if you got a landmark or something, they just put a plaque on the wall. And they'll put the okay, this happened in this house, and and they'll put the information. That's today what a stellar is. And so in the ancient world, they would just erect a stone slab, and the way the slab is designed, where it's rounded out on the top and shit. And and imagine you see the Olmec slab and it's rounded out on the top, just like the Egyptian stela. Matter of fact, I just to show y'all. You see, let me see. What do I got them stela in there? I do. Where they at? I don't know. Where they at? I don't know. Mm, okay. Well, I thought I had put them in there. I sure did. Oh, here they go. And the sarcophaguses, the stone sarcophaguses. You see what I'm saying? Come on, man. You see them right here. And so they got them all through the goddamn Americas. I got some more that I could show y'all where they got the stone sarcophaguses and shit. You see what I'm saying? And you see right there, I got some, the Egyptians, man, they was out cold with them damn sarcophaguses. They had some that was damn near 80 tons and shit. You see what I'm saying? It was damn near 7 feet tall and shit. I say, damn, man. They say, damn, they believe giants could, but they had made it for the apis bull and shit. You know what I'm saying? So they was real large and shit. It looked like a giant couldn't get in them. But these are the stella right here. So you see the rounded out stellas and shit that you see outside of the pyramids. And so you see this got the now that hieroglyph is the Olmec. So the language of the Mayan and the language of the Aztec came from the Olmec. They was the only ones that had a hieroglyph. And you see here the stella rounded out on the top. A lot of this shit, man, you just had to you got to know when the truth is in your face. You see what I'm saying? You're not gonna have all these coincidences. Yeah, there's some uniqueness in it, but the reality is this is the same culture. It's just like you see skyscrapers, and yeah, a lot of these countries where they got some new technology, and then they got some of their old shit there too. You see, they don't give up their old traditions, and that would make some of these nations so unique that they keep their old traditions and they still got some of the newer traditions too. So yeah, there is some uniqueness between the Olmec and the Egyptians, but without any doubt, you could see that the base of the Olmec culture come from the Nile Valley. Now, a lot of people would like to talk about, that they came from West Africa. I don't believe they just came from West Africa because this technology is Egyptian. You see what I'm saying? I believe, yes, West Africans were coming over here, but I believe that the Olmecs came over here straight from the Nile. And I believe it was Africans over here from West Africa too. Don't get me wrong, but that technology of the pyramid, that technology that we talking about of stone sarcophaguses and hieroglyphics and stela and you know, it, that's Egyptian. That's Nile Valley. Ain't no getting away from that. You see what I'm saying? So we just touching on this with this for the family out there, Black Power. I had to drop down on niggas. You know what I'm saying? And let them know. You feel me? We in the house. You feel me? We in the house. The Mindi language. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, most definitely. So we know that West Africa was here too. We're not denoting that. We know that it was West Africa, South Africa, North Africa, and East Africa had made it over here. Well, that's what we have to understand, you know. But this technology is uniquely right here, Egyptian, or better yet, Nile Valley. I want to thank y'all for hanging in here with me tonight, family. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I wanna thank y'all for hanging in here with me tonight. We're gonna be black tomorrow. We're gonna turn this shit up again for your family. Thank you. And support the general. That's right. Support the general. Hit some of them links. I thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Arm yourself with knowledge. Bang on that wicked ass beast daily. Liberation through African education and confrontation. Black power.